camera. Yes. And
good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming and joining us. We enjoyed this quick little visit with everybody, and some of you are regulars and you show up every week to see what we have to say, so I hope we don't disappoint you. Some mornings we're not really sure what we're going to talk about that day, but we're getting a little bit better about planning ahead. And anyway, thank you for joining us.
Put your questions in the comments, because it's definitely helpful for something you want to know about. Put it in the comments. It's fun to engage with you guys who are watching us regularly. I had a couple that came in this Saturday in the mill, and I walked out and they were looking through the retail store and they're like, I know you. And it's because from Facebook Live and watching us on Facebook. So it's really fun in that regard. So put your comments below if you have questions. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
And I already had a lot of coffee this morning, so I have to be honest. My coffee cup actually has water in it right now. So I got up. The time change has thrown me off a little bit. So I don't know about all of you, but I find myself getting up pretty early in the morning, and I've been drinking a lot of coffee. Anyway, we had something really exciting happen yesterday. We worked with a collaboration with Andrea Mowry, and she did a sweater for us. And we just got pretty inundated with orders of our tweed yarn. And it was really exciting. It was fun to watch. And we really like Andrea and just her very earthiness and her fun. She has a very good vibe and she has a great following. And anyway, it was really awesome. We did get one comment yesterday, which sometimes people, when they comment, it kind of shocks me that our story touches them. So I wanted to share this with you all a little bit this morning. This was from Shelly, and she said, "Yay, I wanted to reach out and let you know how excited I am to be ordering from your company. I never, ever order the yarn suggested by the designer for a knitting pattern. But Andrea Mowry's write-up about your yarn and how much she loves it had me intrigued. And then I read your message about your mill, what your company stands for in the grand scheme of the wool process, and simply that you are ready to play a part in the wool business despite not being an expert. I am inspired by your guts to start your mill and make it work, and to incorporate sustainable practices that allow farms near you to maintain a healthy business. This is the first time I am buying directly from the mill source, and I am looking forward to working with your yarn." So I just want to say thank you, Shelly. This was from Shelly, and that just inspired me. So not only did our story touch you, but your comment really touched us and made us feel like, oh, this does resonate with people. So thank you very much.
Yeah, great comments. Just to give you an idea of what the life was like in the mill yesterday, it was a buzz of activity, really fun. But one lady came in and she was here dropping off some wool, and she's like, "Wow, it's really busy here today." And it's like, well, it's kind of every day at the wool mill. We've got something going on. It's exciting. And there's a buzz of activity going on, especially this time of year. We're getting ready for Christmas. People are wanting orders out the door, and it is definitely a buzz of activity. It's very fun in that regard. I was asked by one person, how, again, are supply chain disruptions affecting you? So I meet with a bunch of manufacturers in the regional area once a month, and that was a big question we had, is how are supply chains being affected right now? And a lot of the uncertainty. How do we get product to market? How do we get raw materials brought in? And the stories are just, it's this kind of roller coaster from different companies. We are very fortunate, being very isolated in the fact that we have raw wool that comes in and finished products that go out the door. So we have an extreme ability to be able to control our supply chain internally. One of the challenges being, and what we're looking for as a business side, is what happens if we can't ship that product to those markets? So we have consumers who are buying product all over the country, even around the world. People are asking for yarn, and what happens if we can't actually get that product to them? So we're looking at other models of how do we create more wool products that are used every day, that we could even sell locally, regionally, and just as a backup to keep machines running and keep people employed if there was a major disruption on getting that product to market. So that's just kind of one of those in the back of the mind business questions we've been working on the supply chains.
I think we all also wonder about supply chains just in our personal lives. So it may affect, it's probably going to affect all of us more than we realize.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Speaking of challenges,
Yeah.
Karen, this is a question from one of our Facebook Live commenters. Where are the warm squared warmies at online? We talked about last week. We said we are going to have those posted online, hopefully shortly after the video. And where
it's still sitting on my desk. So anything that goes online, it has a process. And I think sometimes, our promises maybe are a little bit overreaching because I had to get a picture. I have to make sure that the pricing is okay. All the way down to the details of how much does it weigh? Do we have our shipping all taken care of? Yesterday, for example, we realized that we did not correct all the different bundles of yarn people could buy for the sweater. They all said 2 ounces, and they ranged anywhere from 10 ounces to 24 ounces a package. So all those details need to be looked at. So there's really not an excuse other than there were a lot of steps, and it stopped me every time. But I promise we will get them out, and they will be online. I'm not going to say today, but hopefully by Friday.
It's a fun part of what we do, being able to create. We have this awesome ability at Mountain Meadow Wool to create new products and create them fast. So I'll get phone calls from brands or retailers, and they're asking, can you make X, Y, or Z product for us? And we're like, of course. You want it, are you looking at in 6 weeks or 8 weeks? And they're like, no, this is for fall of 2022. I mean, 12, 18 months out. And so we're kind of an anomaly. We can create things really fast and create new products. And that's a fun part of what we do, but also it's challenging. All the little steps to actually get it online. There's a lot of steps. And so right now we're working, right now you guys, I've talked about John a lot. He's sitting right back here, making sure the IT is working right now for the videos. But we have a lot going on, and we need to start building this team. So we've brought in another lady to help us part-time. She's got a young son in kindergarten, so she can only work a few hours every day. But she's going to come in and help us with our social media, our posts, and managing those posts and interacting with you. People ask questions regularly, and we have to have someone who's always checking that to make sure we can respond to those questions. So how do we engage with you better in that regard? And then we're also looking... My sister, who Kelsey, you guys saw her a few weeks ago, her baby's due any day.
Yeah.
Hopefully not weeks, but days.
Yeah.
And for her sake. So she does a lot of our graphic design and our photography. So we're trying to build those skill sets and train new people. And kind of fun, but it does create some challenges.
It does create challenges. And just because we can make it fast doesn't mean it gets fast on our website or anywhere else. So it is definitely a challenge. Mm-hmm. One of the other questions we had this week, or yesterday actually, the new pattern is done with our tweeds, our sport tweeds, and they're natural colors. We also have some dyed. But people were asking, is your yarn scratchy? People who are new to us, or is it soft? And, somebody described it as it more toothy. So I thought that was really interesting. And just as informative, all of our yarns are made with wool that is our Mountain Merino blend, and we target between 20 and 22 microns, basically. So it's called a fine wool. So you will find it smooth and comfortable against your skin.
In general, so when we talk about fineness of wool, and this is kind of fun from the educational standpoint, wool is measured in microns, so it's the diameter of the wool fiber. And the smaller the diameter, the softer it is on your skin. I tell people it's like a blade of grass. A real coarse blade of grass in your yard, it doesn't bend very easy. So that coarse blade of grass would prick your skin. And the same with the wool fiber. A real coarse wool fiber is going to prick against your skin, it's not going to bend. A really fine wool fiber is like a little fine blade of grass in your yard, and it's going to bend really easily against your skin, and so it's not going to itch. And so we look at, 22 microns or finer, that's where you get your next to skin apparel. historically, I would say 9 out of 10 people who come through the mill and they don't know maybe they haven't worn wool before. Mm-hmm. 9 out of 10 will say their stereotype or their mentality of what wool is coarse and scratchy. And I think it goes back decades. In the past century, you know, we historically have had, you know, your military wool clothing was always historically really coarse and scratchy. Military wool blankets. It's different nowadays, but the stereotype of coarse, scratchy wool is still out there. Now, we do have a couple yarns that we use coarser wool for, and where we want the durability, we've got our Suffolk yarn. It's better for, you know, weaving rugs. Yeah. It's a coarser fiber you want to put on your skin, but it's going to be durable. We have a glove that we make, and we call it nitty gritty. We've talked about it before. It's a mix of all the byproducts from in production. We blend it back together and we make a yarn out of it. So it's not going to be your highest quality wool usually. And so there might be some coarse fibers in there. So those gloves are going to be, they're probably 24, 26 microns. And so on your hands, though, they're going to wear really well. So it's going to be great durability in a glove. We also have some finer gloves where we use a 20.5 micron wool. So it just kind of, it ranges in there. In terms of our
mittens, I think, are a little bit finer than our gloves.
Yeah, they're about 20.5 microns.
And we do make those in children's sizes for your little ones. So anyway, isn't there something called a prickle factor, Ben?
Yeah.
Tell us about the prickle factor. I always thought that was a very good description of what it feels like when something is itchy around your neck. It prickles.
Yeah, so that would be looking at anything, the percent of wool that's greater than 30 microns. So we're looking at 20 to 22 microns. So most wool is commercially core tested to find out what percent of that wool is greater than 30 microns. And so that'd be maybe on a sheep, you've got maybe on the neck or down by the legs, you've got some wool that's a little coarser. And what percent of the overall wool is that? And 30 microns or more is definitely going to prick on your skin.
We don't have a very high prickle factor, do we?
Yeah, we work with ranchers trying to keep that down. I mean, our goal is next to skin apparel, that wearability. And so we want soft, nice, fine merino grades of wool in our process.
Yeah. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah.
What else do we got today?
New projects. So we've got some things we were working on this last week. 7 days goes by pretty fast. We were thinking this morning before we getting ready, like, wow. 7 days already flew by. It's time for Facebook Live again, or going on to YouTube, or our live update. And what's happened this last week, we've had a couple university collaborations are still ongoing, and they're really fun. I love engaging with students. We get to talk to the students about what we're doing, the professors. So this last week we had Sheridan College, a local community college. They came, 2 groups of their students from their ag program came and did a tour. We have a Q&A with the students. The University of Wyoming, one of the sheep specialists came up on Saturday. Whit Stewart, a great sheep specialist for the state of Wyoming, and really moving the University of Wyoming forward in terms of how are they in their wool production and their sheep production. And so just engaging those people at that capacity, new ideas, collaborating, figuring out how we can collaborate with them more. It's just really fun, a lot of energy when we talk to those individuals. So a really fun part of what we do.
It's exciting.
Very exciting.
I just see a comment from Nancy who says that she bought a hoodie for her son and it was very soft and she was so surprised. So there you go. There you go. Somebody who's actually wearing it and they notice how soft it is.
It's really fun to show somebody when they come in the mill and they touch a garment like, this is wool? I'm like, yep, this is wool. It's just kind of a fun reality that wool is actually extremely soft depending on the grade. One thing kind of going into, we talk about as managers of a small company in Wyoming, Buffalo, Wyoming, a small town, it's really fun to engage with employees and showcase, how do we help our employees meet their goals in life? And it's a challenge. There's no easy way to do it. But we talk to a lot of, employees, and I'm going to highlight one instance where, we look at life in general is hard. And it's like, how do you have your dreams and your hopes working at the entry-level manufacturing in a small company? How does that meet your dreams and your hopes and your goals in life? And it's a challenge for us as, managing a company. How do we help Mountain Meadow Wool not only create great products, help the ranchers, but also help our employees meet their long-term dreams? And it's very exciting on our end to be able to be a part of those journeys. But I think a lot of companies don't necessarily look at it that way as hey, we might be just a stepping stone for that employee to learn a new skill, and they move on. And how do we help them do that? So challenging, but also very rewarding.
Yeah.
Part of what we do.
Yeah. I feel like we have our own little community in the mill. It's a community of employees and honestly, our community of people who interact with us just on Facebook. And these videos and the people who come in to visit, that's all part of a small community. And we were thinking yesterday with the whole collaboration with the designer, how that becomes a community of people who also engage with her. It's a little bit more personal than, and word of mouth spreads than it is a big magazine advertisement where you really don't engage. You're not really part of that community. So we really find that rewarding as well. So it's employees to our consumers and people who are buying our products. So it's
and we can't
small world.
Yeah, we can't overstate the fact that you engaging with us online, being a partners with us, sharing our story with other people, that word of mouth. People have always talked about word of mouth advertising, and it is extremely helpful. If you like our product and you share it with somebody else, that's really how we grow successfully. And even on the employee standpoint. So I'll just highlight, you've probably seen some of our posts online, and you may not know, but we have a competition. So employees have their phone and they're allowed to go and take a video or take a picture and comment about what they're doing in their process. And we keep a list of that every month. And whichever employee had the best engagement on their post, they get a prize. So it might be a blanket or a sweater, something fun from the mill. Usually it's a second. So maybe a sweater has the wrong color hood on the, and so they get something for the prize. And so it's really a fun way to engage with employees too, to say, hey, you're a part of reaching out to you as the audience on social media.
It is really fun, actually. It's fun to see what they come up with.
Inspiration for the day.
Yeah, you have a special day today.
So today is my youngest daughter's 1-year-old birthday. So she turns 1 today. But I was thinking, the mill, what we do, sometimes we walk away at, late at night after we close the doors, and it's like, whew.
Yeah.
I got maybe one thing on my list done today. It's just sometimes you're managing chaos. And today I was thinking, you know what? I've got a list of, I don't know how many voicemails on my phone right now. I think I've got 14 voicemails that are still on my phone waiting to be listened to. It's horrible. But it's like, I'm going to go take a couple hours with my little 1-year-old. So I think inspiration for the day, keep family at the forefront of all that you do. And some of you may not have family. Maybe you're, I've got some, people in a nursing home. Reach out to somebody who, having those personal connections and definitely spending the time on those connections. Our world is crazy. Spend time on those connections. They are what really matters. So family matters. So just take that time. Even if you've got, like me, a list of this many things to do in your given day.
It'll wait 2 hours.
It'll wait 2 hours. I'm going to go have some waffles with her after I get out of the Facebook Live.
Oh, that's great. And I'll manage the chaos.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, for checking in today. Put your comments if you want to hear something fun for next week. If you ever got a question, send us a message. Post it here on the comment board. We always go back through these comments before the next Facebook Live to read about what you guys are wanting us to talk about.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.